Hey, welcome out to channel14.com's Bodega Nights. I'm Joao, and I have this friend at the office, the art teacher, named Rom. He sounds like this.
First and foremost, look into the purpose or the intention of the author herself.
And Rom, what he does is he goes up to somebody, or he will go up to a group of people and just ask a question. Then all of a sudden, everybody just starts talking, and a pretty cool conversation ensues. He did something like that in the faculty room earlier. He asked about Nagini from the new Fantastic Beasts movie. Like, what do y'all think about the controversy about casting an Asian or something? And the people within earshot were me and the literature teacher, or one of the literature teachers, a guy by the name of Charlie. He sounds like this.
So why are we so bothered about it? Does that mean we can't stand watching ourselves be like that on screen? Even though we know that somewhere out there, that's the reality.
And the moment that Rom asked the question, I pulled out my phone and started recording. Right? Because something that Rom has always kind of wanted to do was find a way to publish these kapihan sessions, or these little conversations that he starts up. So this episode of Bodega Nights, and hopefully the next few episodes of Bodega Nights, or for the foreseeable future, are just going to be like me recording random conversations that I have with Rom. Or maybe I should make this like a separate show, or like an imprint of Bodega Nights. I have no idea. But either way, this is a conversation with Charlie and Rom about Harry Potter.
Well, I think, however way you want to look at it, it's potentially problematic. Because number one, the casting of an East Asian woman in that role, fueled this feeling of the Asian people attacked in the way that they are part of the American quote-unquote fetish, that the Asians are the pets of the white people. And then second, if they are going to cast a white woman in that role, they would also think that it's whitewashing, because Nagini really comes from the myth Naga, which is from Indonesia, an Asian country. So
well, even that's problematic, because Indonesians aren't ethnically South Korean.
That's true. That's true. So it's important for us really to know at least their reasons why they casted that specific actress in the first place.
But then when we read a text, we can look at the text from a number of different perspectives, right? And one perspective that I really like, that I'm somewhat partial towards, is the idea that everything should be complete in the text, and that the reasoning of the author shouldn't exactly play that big a role in your interpretation of the script, like a more formalist approach, if you will. So, does that can that apply to an analysis of the situation? Like, can I use that to say that no, let's look at this not from the point of view of why they casted, but what the text, if you will, says about the situation. If that makes sense. I'm not sure it makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. Basically, removed of their reasoning, which is between them and their God. What can we say?
What are they trying to achieve
There.
by putting Nagini in the narrative? Now, we don't know because we haven't seen the movie yet. But
That's true.
if you come to think of it, why is Nagini so important? When in fact, in the Harry Potter books, she's nothing but a mere sidekick, a mere pet, right?
Yeah.
Who is someone to do Voldemort's bidding.
Right.
But how come they would want to beef up her character at this point?
because crazy rich Asians made a crazy amount of money.
That's true. That's true. Is it really just because of representation that they wanted an Asian actress to play? Is that what's the in thing to do now?
Because if that's the case, then the outrage is justified. In the same way that a whitewashing would be justified as well. Or like outrage over a whitewashing would be justified as well.
Okay, maybe we can approach it this way. As Asians ourselves, what is your take on this? Are you in the least bit offended of casting that South Korean actress as Nagini? Or are you okay with it?
Well, personally, I think it's always a matter of looking into the content. First and foremost, perhaps we could look into the purpose or the intention of the author herself. The moment she wrote about it, what was the influences, the inspiration of that particular character, which for me is something reasonable. That is why I would want and would love to hear more on the ideas of people in terms of this. But personally, I don't think it's an issue. Well, I think it would be good if for us to really just watch the film and just look into it. What is really their purpose?
So
for
are we
this?
talking here? Let's watch it.
And just enjoy Johnny Depp and Jude Law stare at each other longingly.
That's true. But really, for me, I don't care also for as long as the material is good and the character is good at portraying. I mean, the actress is good at portraying the character. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, as Asians, like maybe it's just that we're used to seeing like non-Asians on screen, but I can see why this could be a sticking point for the Asian Americans specifically, because like here we have no real skin in the game because we don't have like white people in our schools, right? Or we don't have a great many white people, and even if we do, they're all like mestizos anyway. But I would imagine that in the United States, for example, where you have something like half of the population is white and the other half is some sort of minority group, quote unquote, it would become a representation issue because the white people have people that look and sound like them, and you have this other group of people that don't have anybody that they can turn to and say like, hey, look, we have like that Rex Navarrete joke, right? Like that thing with the Santo Niño, like how his white classmates had their Superman dolls and stuff, and he had the Santo Niño that has like a grenade and knows kung fu. Right, so I can see how the representation thing can be an issue for a society that is multiracial. I don't want to call it multicultural.
Yeah.
But multiracial.
Well, I think another realization in the first movie of the Fantastic Beasts, they started to introduce concepts like suffrage and the right of women.
Yeah.
It could possibly be another way of advocating a different, rights. For example, in this concept of ethnocentrism and the diversity of representation. Probably this could also be another way of subtly introducing to the people or to the audience this kinds of equal rights and things like that. Perhaps that's why they chose Nagini to be an Asian character.
As the art teacher, do you think it is the responsibility of art to push for some social agenda?
For me, sometimes it is not intentional. Sometimes partly because of the context of an artist, where he stands from a point of view where he's simply just living his own identity. It one way or another naturally comes out as a response to his situation or to his experience. And so I'm saying it doesn't always mean that when an artist incorporates a racial or a tradition of a particular ethnic group, it automatically implies that they're advocating for the empowerment of this particular minority group, perhaps.
So it's like it's just because of the point of view of the artist that it just sort of comes out naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So does it become problematic if, and I'm not buying into any of that conspiracy theory crap about like Hollywood having an agenda, but is it a disservice to the art if the advocacy becomes the point of the art, or is there like a certain genre of art perhaps that has that sort of aim or goal?
Okay. Well, if we are to look into the perspective of a contemporary art period, instead of just looking into the beauty of a particular or aesthetic feeling of a particular produce, we tend to really look into the concepts behind. So sometimes, we cannot deny it that it's also intentional in nature that we focus more on the message instead of just simply presenting it for what it is, for its form.
Okay.
Okay. These are really big ideas. But
Art teacher.
I would like us to go back to our topic. What is really the underlying issue here? I mean, we were so enraged that they casted this Asian actress for this role. And going back to the
care
Nagini
less.
thing again, no? Yeah.
Oh no.
I just hope it's a good movie.
But really, for me, the people behind the film really just wanted to be authentic, although not really 100%,
Yes.
no? Because
Yes.
they know that J.K. Rowling really would want they stick into the Naga myth.
Sure.
And so they casted an Asian woman for it. Now, people are, especially Asians, were enraged because it would mean that we are actually following that the trope, no, of having Asian people as the pet of white people. But that's the reality. I mean, at one point. So why are we so bothered about it? Does that mean we can't stand watching ourselves be like that on screen, even though we know that somewhere out there that's the reality?
Art. Again, the question of, because I think that was sort of the question, that was sort of what I was trying to get at when I was asking, when asking about whether it is the responsibility of the artist to push an agenda, or whether that pushing of an agenda detracts from the art itself. And I suppose the same thing can be asked of sort of narrative arts, right? Like, does the pushing of an agenda above narrative, not expedience, but narrative necessity, does the pushing of an agenda over narrative necessity detract from the piece as a whole? Because I think if we can wrap our heads around those questions, then we can sort of get closer to an answer to this Nagini. I can't think of a nice alliteration, sorry. This Nagini nightmare. Oh,
Why not? Is it really pushing an agenda though? Or are they just really want to be authentic in what they do? And it's us trying to make all of these issues surrounding it.
True. It's always an open interpretation.
Yes, I mean, if the position is that it isn't pushing an agenda, then that would mean that narrative necessity trumps narrative. Rather, narrative necessity trumps agenda.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that should
I would
be
like
the
to
case.
believe, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, and I would think that the people that are up in arms are overreacting because of agenda, because of ideology, which is dangerous. Like politics class, man. Like,
Because I think these very same
if you
people
want to
would
join
not
us, you
be...
can. You can join us if you want to.
These very same people who are angered with the casting of this Asian woman, I think will also be angry if they will in fact cast a white woman for the role.
Yeah. So just
Kanina casting news.
for Nagini in Fantastic Beasts, and now we bring in the physics teacher.
Di ba the Nagini is the snake?
Yes.
Have you seen the last
Ano yung
trailer?
cast usually?
Asian woman.
Wait, sa?
They're trying to
Di ba Nagini
personify.
is the snake?
Yes.
Yes.
And she's part in the narrative for
Right.
Fantastic Beasts.
Wait, but in the story, but she's just as it is just a snake.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they're trying to beef up her
Na
character.
person siya before.
Animagus, that eventually decided to stay as an animal forever.
Oh, one.
Yeah, and they casted an Asian woman for it.
Yes, we bring the
And people
physics teacher
are-
into the podcast. Come on, man. Come closer to the
And people are
microphone. man.
enraged because it pushes the trope that Asian people are pets of white people. But then J.K. Rowling said that the casting of an Asian woman is authentic because, again, Nagini is inspired by the Naga myth from Indonesia. And so she has to be Asian.
But then at the same time, that's
I
quite
understand
fun.
where she's coming from.
Yeah, but then why did they cast a freaking South Korean and not like a?
They're striving to be authentic, but not necessarily 100% about it.
Like why didn't they cast like Anggun or something?
True.
We should test a Filipina.
But, yeah, but then like we're closer racially to the Naga myth, unless.
But you can
They should
also
have
think
cast Heart
about
Evangelista.
you can also think
Heart
about
as
no, the
Cho-Chang.
aesthetic quality of the actress. The actress looks very Asian. She registers very well on screen. That can also be one of the points that they
Who did
consider.
they cast?
She was in Age of Ultron. She was one of
She's a beautiful actress. I don't know her name.
Katong Korean doctor.
something Cho whatever her name is in Age of Ultron. Actually, the sum total of human knowledge is in the palm of our hands. I'll look it up while you guys vamp.
I don't understand this show. I don't really care, to be honest. I just hope that it's a good material and I hope it will help the narrative. That's why she gestures on screen very well.
Agree.
She looks
Claudia
very
Kim.
Asian also.
Yeah. I mean, again, as long as there isn't anything that is inherently, not inherently racist. Like unless there is, like for example, Steve Rogers cannot be black. Right? I firmly believe that
Yes.
Steve Rogers cannot be black because of, say, the power of having Captain America come in and get rid of the Nazis. Right? Like the person that was supposed to be the very savior of the Nazis is
fighting them.
the person that is taking them down piece by piece, right? So it would change so much if we all of a sudden cast Steve Rogers as, or if we get somebody that is Asian or like African American or whatever to play Steve Rogers. Is there anything that is inherently Asian about Nagini? And that's where we find the problem.
Because but she did say that the Naga myth, which I'm not familiar with the myth.
But it's not particularly said in any of the canon. She just tweeted it, just to shut down all of these people trying to question the choice of the actress.
Yeah, although actually butang sa canon, but it's possible na when she thought of the character,
Yeah,
it's just not worth mentioning.
that's why. So if they casted a white woman in the role, would that make sense? Would that make these Asian people who's like making a huge problem out of this? Shut up.
Probably
No,
not.
kasi when you consider Asian
Oh,
na,
they
she's
wanted
inspired
an
with the
Asian.
Naga
Oh,
myth.
that's
She should be
why.
Asian.
See. So
It's possible.
I don't understand the underlying issue here.
I think a lot of this flame is caused by the author herself, by like by talking about here as the literature teacher, sir. What say does the author have once a work has been completed?
Done. His role is done. The canon is already published, and whatever, like what you said, when we had a conversation, whatever he says after that will be considered as canon.
Yeah.
And so it would be nice if he is not planning in writing any sequel or something to distance himself from the piece that he has written.
But that's not the case. Kay Rowling is very involved
That's
sa
why.
Fantastic Beasts.
Oh yeah. That's why so now when we read the
canon siya.
first 7 books, when we read the 7 books,
The 7
we
first
will
books.
no longer look at Nagini as just Snake.
And that,
Diba?
yeah,
We
it
will look at
changes
it
changes it,
changes.
yeah. It changes.
It changes the perspective of the first one. And so for me, if you can, like, if you have no plans of really trying to write these characters anymore, you have to distance yourself. You should stop giving us information.
So that's why prequels are sometimes a bad idea.
Midi-chlorians, man. Midi-chlorians.
Even
But
just
aside from that, kanang it changes how you look at the character.
Yeah.
I think you know Die Hard.
Yeah, of course.
They're making a prequel na younger John McClane.
Really?
And then people are really upset because he's supposed to be a regular guy
Yeah.
put in a kanang terrorist situation, diba? Then, now the new movie is commercial super cop or something.
That's dumb.
Gani, so mo na ang case, one of the cases against because kay ma-change lagi mo ang pagtanaw sa character
That's
you
true.
first met.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that in mind, what I am afraid right now is that when we look into the moment where Neville Longbottom kills the snake, we would feel bad instead of feeling good.
Especially if they were able to make her
Because
character
he's
a
killing
really good one.
Right.
And it's a white dude killing an Asian girl.
Right.
So that's another issue.
Another story.
Gibehead ba to siya naging?
Yeah, and then he disintegrated into several parts. So instead of feeling at that moment, I felt like, oh my god, this is victory,
Pero
this is success.
katong fan na naa sa gamit to kill to stab
It's a different.
Frido's diary. That was not
Basilisk.
that was a different snake, no?
That's a different snake.
Okay. I'm just trying to remember the herb.
It's so sad, right? I mean, you're so emotionally invested.
Ano saan niya appears
With
in
that
Nagini sa
moment.
Deathly Hallows, ba?
Second.
The second book, dude.
Sa Chamber of
Oh, wait.
Secrets.
Or the...
Basilisk.
No.
sa Chamber of
Oh,
Secrets.
it's a fourth Goblet of Fire.
Yeah.
Goblet of Fire, right?
So medyo
in the,
late na si
in the house.
Reincarnated.
Yeah,
So
in the house with
Medyo late na
the Riddle's house, I think.
Yeah.
He was there. Nagin is there.
Dali ang
Yeah.
Middle House sa Goblet of Fire?
Yeah, the very
first
first
chapter. Where someone was cooking
In
and
the,
someone was
ano,
attacking.
yeah.
Yeah, in the scholastic version, the picture is
Yeah.
like of a... Yeah.
Yeah.
Great for like an
remembers it,
audio.
right?
This is great for an audio format, right? Like I was about to describe the picture in the first chapter of Goblet of Fire.
Exactly. No, it all makes sense. Because if it's
That was a
really,
really
too
good
good.
Katong character ni Ezra Miller sa first movie.
Oh, that's Ezra Miller.
Ezra
Man,
Miller.
we've been
Credits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we've been trying to remember
They-
that guy's name
diba
for like the
he's
past
like
24 hours.
unique na kuan. Nanay,
An obscure.
Obscure.
Yeah.
apparently one of the I think ang sister ni Dumbledore.
Yes.
Giratcon to be
Ariana, I think.
to be an obscurist because of paggawa sa Fantastic Beasts. Eh, wala man anything to describe her condition
Yeah.
sa books, but when Fantastic Beasts came out, they used that to
She purposely
explain.
kept her magic within.
Oh, lagi.
Yeah.
So, to
Yeah.
explain, they use Fantastic Beasts to sort of explain that.
Exactly.
So, more lang gigamit ang
Which brings us, yes, we also have talked about what is really the significance of Newt Scamander yesterday.
Like what is the significance of Newt Scamander
Why is he in the center of all of this?
But
because he is a Time Lord.
Is he named ba sa kwan?
He is a
sa
Time Lord,
series?
and
Wala,
the
no?
bag
Sa
is his target.
He was.
As the author.
As the author
of the book. Fantastic Beasts.
No, but I'm talking about
A character.
Is the book Fantastic Beasts in the Harry Potter?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mentioned one of their
It's like one of the
textbooks.
textbooks.
Okay. Sorry, okay.
It's.
Kalimutan ko daw.
this is the big
So I did a bit
Robert
of
Hooker.
research. And what I found out was that, for one, remember that the ending scene of the first Fantastic Beast where what is the term for that? He removed the wand, or what's the term for that? The wand of Grindelwald.
Like that.
Disarming.
Expelliarmus.
Yeah, disarming.
Expelliarmus.
He actually disarmed Grindelwald, and then that time he was using the Elder Wand. So he disarmed
So, niagin niya
Grindelwald.
another one.
More or less, they're trying to imply, there's like a conspiracy theory that he might be the next owner of the Elder Wand. And Dumbledore was really like supporting him, partly because,
He wanted
as
to
we
get
could
the
see entirely, no sir, as you could see entirely in the films, Newt Scamander really didn't aspire for power or glory. Well, on the other hand, Grindelwald and the younger version of Dumbledore is really trying to purify the world of the darkness, and there's this issue about muggles and all these things.
So banking in your theory, it's now Newt Scamander
Somebody's been
who's like
watching the
holding
Super
the
Carlin
Elder
Brothers.
Wand.
Pero i-explain
The Elder
dun
Wand.
sa-
But
He will be-
Dumbledore won the Elder Wand by fighting in a battle with
Grindelwald.
Grindelwald himself.
Oh, No,
But
di
they just
explain
arm
mo na sa
Grindelwald.
Deathly Hallows.
Grindelwald, right?
Yes, but I think that is something they have to explain.
Di ba kung ano to, Grindelwald, Dumbledore, Malfoy, Snape?
Yeah.
Yeah. Harry Potter?
Yes,
Ang-
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
Deathly Hallows ba?
Uh-huh.
yeah.
So like so you're saying they're inserting like
Basta-
Scamander.
But
Yes.
into the narrative. This is actually the problem
Kasi
of
may balik ni
going
Grindelwald
back
lagi.
of prequels because it will just add more loopholes into the plot.
And then and knowing how trigger happy J.K. Rowling can be, she's going to keep on tweeting and writing on Pottermore, like covering these loopholes that they find.
Because people will devour whatever she will add
That's
on the
true.
narrative, whatever information that she will get.
Pero we'll definitely read sa katong Cursed Child. Because it's a kuan mo good.
It's not canon anymore.
Really, it's apparently it's a play, and then I don't want to read a play. I want to read.
That's also one thing.
But
yeah.
you know what?
I'll
I'm
watch it, but
happy
I
you
don't want to
didn't read it because you will have a lot of questions afterwards about the timeline, about wait, what happened if you try to connect. So I think really just treat the book as they are, the 7 books, and then
Deathly
whatever
Hallows
comes
na-
afterwards, treat it as their single entities also.
So it's like the Star Wars thing all over again.
Yeah.
My little pet theory is they messed with time travel, right?
Which they did sa Prisoner, di ba?
Yeah, Prisoner of Azkaban. They mess with time travel, and I like the Marvel theory of time travel that when you travel back in time, you create a separate
Change.
timeline. And so they created the movie timeline. They created the book the book timeline, created the movie timeline, which created the
Which created the play timeline.
timeline. Like that's how I'm approaching it.
That's
That's
their-
my stupid
Ang
headcanon.
gitawagan is kanang headcanon. Kanang rationalizing of the fans just to make sense of whatever headcanon.
And the difference between a fan coming up with headcanon and the author coming up with headcanon is the headcanon of the author is the canon. I don't know where I was going with that other than
This is all messed up.
time travel messes up books.
But whatever issues like really know that they are entertaining for them, it's really good press.
Yeah, true. Sort of like what was it? Sort of like how they cast a black woman to play old Hermione
In the play.
Cursed Child.
Because she was never really named or kanang described sa
As black.
as black
Yeah,
or white.
Or white.
Or
so-
white.
But she did have red hair.
No.
Wasn't it like frizzy
Weasley.
brown or something?
Ginny
Ah,
has
wala
red
rin.
hair. No.
Ah,
Bushy hair, curly
bushy
hair.
Yeah.
So it's very possible.
So it's very possible.
na she
Yeah.
could be kanang okay. Bushy hair is
Don't be racist, man.
I mean it's part of their
It is something that we associate with
so
people of
genetically,
African
mao man
descent.
lang,
right?
cause
Yes.
genetically it's what
Yeah.
gifted you.
Yeah.
That's why that decision was fine.
Because there was nothing in the text. It was sort of like Captain America, or the anti-Captain America.
See,
Or the anti-Steve Rogers, because like there's nothing in the text itself that says that she has to be Caucasian.
What's an anti-Steve Rogers?
Oh,
An Asian woman? Or
No. What's it? Hermione Granger. Because there's some characters that have to be a particular race.
like you said,
It's like Steve Rogers, right? So he has to be white.
Or Black Panther.
Yeah, Black Panther. Imagine having Black Panther be portrayed by a South Korean. That'd be weird.
Yeah.
Ruler of Wakanda, a sub-Saharan African nation.
Yeah, Romulan casted as American.
Apparently, nasa ka ng sa comics sa character, the White Wolf.
Yeah, the
Sa
White
Black
Wolf.
Panther, who's a white guy.
Yeah.
Wala lang, nalingan ko. But gipuli man, gitake man na ni Winter
Bucky.
Soldier sa
Yeah, Bucky Barnes is.
Well, Age of Ultron.
Well, that's the implication of the post-credit scene, diba? That Bucky Barnes is going to be the White Wolf in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Like a white person nag-adapt ni Wakanda or something.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm curious also is that the title is Fantastic Beasts. So, what will be the role of the beasts in the second movie?
It's gonna be fantastic.
Right?
Oh, man, ang name sa
And I hope they would really just integrate the beasts into the narrative because I got bored in the first half of the first film.
Yeah.
Wherein it's all beasts, no narrative.
it's all
Right? The
National
narrative
Geographic.
came in at the second part.
National Geographic.
Right?
National Geographic na
That's why. It's really just all beasts and no story.
True.
It
There-
was
They were trying to initiate siguro the how
Yeah.
perception itself, the world itself. It was really about the fantasy.
Still have a lot to do, but I'd really like to listen. I have a button next. Thank you for it.
Thank you, Mr. Physics.
Kasi nag-
Hindi mo pa make fight yourself.
The first movie was a glorified fetch quest for the first half of it, or the cinematic equivalent of a fetch quest in video games. That's all they did, right? They're like, "Oh, beasts are loose. Let's get them back." And all of a sudden, like, oh, canon.
Yeah. And remember there was a muggle who they had to take away his memory at the end of the scene.
Yeah.
Or at the end of the entire movie. And then now I'm seeing trailer with him again. So
Because we need him. He's the only reason why the first film was interesting.
oh,
Sorry.
that's true. I agree. Yeah, but see the point? I mean, there's so many mini stories in this entire film.
That's good though, right?
Because J.K. Rowling is a good writer. We won't have these problems if she's not.
Agree.
She's not good. So
Well, I think what Charlie is talking about is a good novel. I can see the literature teacher looking at me like, oh, social
this better
science
be
guy.
good.
This better be
This
good.
better be good.
Don't flaunt your ignorance on the internet
No, it's okay.
in front of like tens of people.
This better be good.
It was like a good novel has an overarching narrative with little subplots within the overall narrative, as distinguished from like a short story, right? Which is just a single action, right? And I would think that a feature-length film, is more like a novel than it is a short story, in that you have an overarching single narrative, which and like little subplots, right? So the Muggle dude that falls in love with, we don't call them Muggles, right? We call them nomads.
we're in the American context now.
Oh yeah.
The nomad dude.
Nomad.
The nomad dude fell in love with that wizard.
sister.
Yeah, right?
The witch, yeah.
And subplot, fine. But like, I think what, and if I'm reading Charlie correctly, I am in agreement. The first movie didn't have a single overarching plot, and that's problematic because it felt like two movies, right?
Yeah, sure. And the first one isn't like a movie at all. It's like a documentary of all these magical creatures.
It's like a, what do you call it? It's fan service at that point. Yeah. I don't know. What's your favorite Harry Potter book? Since we're like talking about Harry Potter.
Well, it's always going to be book and movie. Actually, it's always going to be Prisoner of Azkaban, the third one.
Yeah.
I like it because it's the first time that the narrative felt a little darker.
Right.
Yeah, it's the first time also that J.K. showed us her prowess of surprising us at the end. You know? Because right after the third book, fourth, fifth, sixth, there's always a surprise at the end that we come to expect already. But
Yeah.
it was the first foray of that surprise.
So, like,
and it was good. I was satisfied after reading it. It's really good. And then the realization that, oh, I did not expect this to happen. I did not expect this turn of events. And so, yeah, I really love the third book. And it's not too long, it's not too short as well. Just right.
Actually, that's why I really like the third book as well. It didn't feel like Bloomsbury was like more pages, more pages. Although I really like thinking about it though, I really like the fourth book as well. The Goblet of Fire. Apart from the huge gaping plot hole that is Harry Potter's name in the Goblet of Fire in the first place. Why would Dumbledore do anyway? It's a really good novel. Like there is, like we mentioned earlier, there is that big overarching plot, and then you have little subplots, and you have little beginning, middle, and ends in each task that has to be done, which is sort of a master class in episodic storytelling, and I really like that.
True. If I remember it right, it was in this book that Cedric, Cedric Diggory, is part also of the
tournament or whatever. Yeah. Oh, that guy.
And which we thought wasn't really that important, but then we got emotionally attached, and everything was roller coaster ride.
He's a Hufflepuff. What houses are you guys in, by the way? If you've taken the Pottermore course.
Gryffindor.
Yeah, me too. I'm Gryffindor.
Wow, you guys are lame.
You are?
Hufflepuff.
Oh no.
But I feel like if I'm not in Gryffindor, I would really love to be in
Ravenclaw.
Hufflepuff. I mean, it's not every day you get to have the common room near the kitchen.
Yeah, you got
right?
the common room near the kitchen. The
And I feel like they're all just nice people there.
yeah, it's like
It's not so hard to belong.
it's like the most chill,
Yeah.
the most chill house. Like Gryffindor is too.
Yeah, it's
And-
all brawn.
Um,
I can be brave, but I don't think I'll be that brave. Hufflepuff. Newt's commander, right? Is
Yeah, he's a Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
as Rom said earlier, he's like the chillest person like in the
I
entire
know,
Harry Potter
right?
universe.
That's true.
He's just there to be, or he's just there to have like a good time.
right.
Speaking of Newt, I really would want to know more about his relationship with Leta Lestrange.
Oh,
That
yeah,
girl,
yeah.
The one in the picture in the first book, right? She's in the trailer, right, for the second one. So I feel like they
don't
will explore
remember.
the story more.
I don't remember. I still couldn't get over.
I think she was
over,
the
like-
one who said, "You haven't met a monster you didn't love."
Oh,
And at the back of my head, I thought it was a really good dialogue.
yeah.
Agree.
So yeah, I want to know more about their relationship. They're supposed to be classmates, right? Back in Hogwarts.
Yeah. I'm not. I don't remember. But
Because judging by the
Pottermore said
trailer,
about it.
we are going way, way back in the past when Newt
True.
was still a student there, and Dumbledore, his Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So how are they as
yeah.
classmates? I would want to know that. And
Did
how
they show
is
the
Dumbledore
Bogart
as a
bit?
teacher really? Because if my memory serves me correctly, Newt's commander was expelled.
Yes.
And then it was Dumbledore who argued on his behalf, right?
Yeah.
That's why he got to keep his wand.
Right.
So I want to see that. I want
Agree.
to see how that transpired.
You think they're gonna show it?
Hopefully,
I think so because there's a scene where they're supposed to work with the Bogarts.
yeah, right. And then Newt was afraid of having a daytime job, like an office job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I hope they
And
will.
then they mentioned even that the girl. They're curious about what's the emotion of the girl or the.
Wait, do you guys have
feel.
fifth period?
I have. Sorry.
Let's end our
You guys
conversation.
continue.
Let's end our conversation.